evening live to start the futures market, I think we should start off with what happened in silver. It's nothing short of manipulation at its finest at what you've seen at the top. And it's not the top for the foreseeable future by no means, but I do believe that what happened here on the gap up and then the sudden movement down is particularly what I was pretty interested in happening and what I thought could catapult some kind of move in crypto for wave four. I thought that once it finished, I didn't think it was just going to go up to 93. I thought we had to back test here a little bit after it did whatever it was going to do on this gap. But we have a gap clearly at $71, I believe it is, on silver. It's a weekly gap at that. It's either 71 or 72. I wish Nick was in here. I don't know. I haven't turned my tablet on. He could probably enlighten us a little bit more on that gap. But it's somewhere around $71 to $72. So I firmly expect that to hit. And I've been planning on that with the positioning of crypto because I believe you need to have some kind of catalyst here to help us navigate our way into a wave four expansion. I think that'd be the perfect scenario as this money's going to find its way into risk assets here. And I think it's going to be a quick window, but I think you need something to start motivating its way up. And what better way than having an over 5% gap up? Silver breaking $83 an ounce. You heard that right. It broke up to 83.66. And now we're down better than $6. And long behold, nothing's really happened in crypto, but what did it do? Some things are down 2, 3, 4%, and it started to reverse the fate of the cryptocurrency market simultaneously. So if this follows through and we do have this gap down to 72, and I'm telling you, when this stuff happens though, I don't know if it's going to be days, a couple of days, but ending into the year, it's a perfect time to do this. This would be a perfect time to do this. Silver and everything else is so overbought right now in comparison to crypto that if you're continuing on, you need to get that liquidity up. This doesn't seem like, this seems perfectly tailor-made. Like if I had to draw this up, I'm so happy right now with what I'm seeing. Then people are going to be like, oh, well, you have silver and gold. I do have silver and gold, but I want to see the market move in kind of like a lockstep. Now, if crypto dumps out here, I made it very clear in my title. And make sure to hit that like button so that YouTube can recommend this live. Share. If you're watching this, subscribe. There's a wider and wider margin of people who watch that aren't subscribed, which I am happy about because that means newer people are watching. Even though they're not subscribing, they come back, which means I have the opportunity to get you subscribed later. But please make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn the bell notification to all, so that you can actually have a chance to see my content. I love what the markets are showing us right now. We need information. Without information, we can't make a decision. We're getting great information right now. Great information. Oh, it's great information. Before I move on, though, I want to just thank everybody for being in here. You've all been so spectacular. And just continuing to be able to grow this base with all of you and start pushing this even more in a different direction as we find our tranquility. I find my inner self. I've been feeling much better about these lives with my voice, the way I've been talking. I haven't gotten loud in about 4 or 5 more than episodes now in the way. So I feel like it's coming across not just for you guys, but when I watch it back, I look at it and I'm like, man, this guy actually wants me to learn. Like, I remember a time or two before when he might not have, he might not have been so happy and he was yelling at me when I'm just trying to ask the question. So it's like I would ask the same questions when I'm watching it back and be like, oh, that's not the right response when I'm watching it. Like, you can't talk to somebody like that. They don't know any better. So I think it comes off in a better way. I think more people are willing to ask the question. And then when I'm watching it back, I can be like, oh, that's a great response. That's how you need to respond. So, good evening. 7:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, December 28th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan, and you should hear the weather we're having here. Freezing rain earlier. Now it's going up to 54 degrees as we're getting heavy winds. Rain is coming down crazily. Flooding. And then it's going to hit 54 degrees tonight. Look at this. Look at this wildness. As we get our small break here. Oh, where's it at? We're having the 54. Watch this. Talk about craziness. We go up to 53 all of a sudden. Mind you, we're at 24 this morning. And then by the time we wake up in the morning, we're at 25. So everybody in Europe and the UK, I see you guys all complaining about your winter weather. Well, we're going to 54 degrees. We're going to 55 by 11 p.m., 53 at midnight, and by the time I wake up in the morning, it's going to be 25. That's wild. Like Michaela said, this is gross weather. My stepdaughter. This is gross weather. But this is get yourself sick as a. I mean, who else is dealing with that right now? That's a wild swing. And it's going to be raining all night, so it's all going to turn to ice. But I've definitely been doing some soul searching. I went to church again today, like I've been liking to do. It keeps me more refined because I feel like there's 4 pillars, and I've been trying to follow it myself. And it goes hand in hand: faith, compassion, integrity, and love. If you have those 4 facets, I think we can accomplish anything together. You need faith above all because you need to know there's something greater than yourself. Whether you're a religious person or not, you have to have faith over oneself, that we have faith that there's something greater than what we are doing. Otherwise, what's really the point? You have compassion because without compassion, there's no conversation. If you don't show compassion, most people won't even stick around. But then if you're not a compassionate person, you wreak something far more evil, and you don't want to go down that road. Faith and compassion brings the integrity. If you have the belief in something greater than yourself and you show compassion for all, not just humans, but all, it can be a plant, it can be a worm, it can be whatever, in the right scenario. Now, if you're using a worm as fishing bait, obviously you're using it to catch something else. But if you see it crossing the sidewalk and it's shriveling up, toss it in the dirt and throw some water on it. And then you have to have love. Because the unified message in the world, the energy, if we all have the energy of love, it's so inviting. And when I used to watch back my stuff, I'd be like, this guy's got hate. He might be loving, but there's also hate. Like, you can't, it kind of drives people away. So I like the love, the aura. I even have my little cross on my amethyst, and it's just a small little one, but Julie bought me it, and I like it. So welcome in, everybody. Now that we got through our opening statement, Dan Marginal, welcome in, and thanks for being in town for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, along with Bearded Viking. And Bearded Viking, we pray for Mighty Marcus to continue to fight the good fight. And we pray for you as well, for your continued clarity, because without you, Mighty Marcus is going to have a very tough road. So I commend you, and I'm so blessed to have you in here. I've been working on a message back to you, but it's, well, you'll see when you get it. Mark Cass and Jacoby, thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. I Hustle Harder Than You, welcome in. Define Group, good evening, along with Crypto Cooter, DML. Thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Crypto Cooter and Define, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months plus, being very trusted mods in here in the Telegram, help us run this thing in the right direction. Define picking up a lot of my slack, as I've been trying to put out so much content that sometimes I lose track. I put out so much stuff today between Facebook and YouTube, and I've been expanding YouTube by putting out XDC content as well, the 60-second shorts, which I really like doing. I don't even care if they become well received, but I really like doing it, and it keeps me in line with where XDC's at. I almost think I need to do it with the 3X's, but then it just might crowd things up. But like, I'm not mad. XDC yesterday got 852 views. The one today's got 627 views. Or no, that's never mind. XDC one today got 852 views. That's good. The silver one I did an hour and 18 minutes ago, 627 views. That's crazy. But yeah, silver is definitely a hot topic, that's for sure. bear with me. I like to say hi to everybody. It kind of builds the environment, and then we can get into the nuts and bolts, and then we can have that nice close bond where everybody's inviting and invited and welcoming. Define says, hey everyone, hit that like on the way in. Consider subscribing and joining Tom's Army for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Every day you are not in the Telegram, you are missing out. Why wait? I totally agree. And Defined, it's probably going to be tomorrow. You're going to get a big message about the steps that are going to need to be taken if anybody wants to take the class as we almost approach the first. And I can tell everybody, if you want to do it, you better download Zoom, because that's really the only way I can do it from 170 something countries. So, and I'll be using probably what the hell is it? Crap. I'm having a brain fart. For the payment processor, because I can go to like 193 countries or whatever. Square, I believe it is. But I'll let you know all that after. Let's see. Who did I miss? Mrs. Stott, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor, along with Bright Future Freedom. Mrs. Stott said hello again. Yeah, Tom short earlier. I put that out. It was some pretty interesting stuff out there. Good evening, team. Been camping with family all weekend and learned a new game with the kids called Crypto Cash Fun. I love it. I love it. And I'm so glad that you spent some time with the family camp. And that's something me and Julie haven't been able to do since her accident 5 years ago, but we used to love it. We loved it. Remember, guys, what I always say about crypto and mining stocks, and, well, maybe not mining stocks. We don't know how they're going to be affected, but at least the bullion. Forget mining stocks right now. We're talking about the bullion. But with the silver and gold, and then all of a sudden crypto, this is the exact opposite reaction that I was ready for if silver did this and gold at the end of the year, and we could get into a micro or macro. Well, this would be a microwave for. But this is what you'd be setting up for, because money finds yield. So if money's finding its way out of that market, the risk off, you better freaking believe this week it's coming in heavy and risk on if it's going somewhere. But you know, there's a lot of speculation that $40 billion or so. Let me see. Hold on one sec. It is. I don't like to misrepresent what I'm saying, so $25 billion. Apparently, the Fed bailed out the banks to a tune of $25 billion to cover their short losses on taxpayers' expense, and that is a scam. Craig, thank you if you're watching for sharing that with me earlier. It's a blessing to have you send me some information. He's from Canada, and he sends some great stuff. He probably sent me the most important thing anybody's ever sent me, personally. It was a beautiful journal, and he sent me some silver. It was just a beautiful thing, a beautiful gesture. And I got to know him and his wife Sandra, even though they're a little bit older than I am, and they're, back end of their life, and they're, getting into their 70s. I don't need to talk about it, but anyhow, but you never know who you're going to run into, and the information I get from Craig, and just knowing him and Sandra, and it's a beautiful thing. So Craig, if you're out there, thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so very much. I've learned a lot from Craig, so very much. He says he learned a lot from me, but I digress. I think I learned more from him. But anyhow, let's continue on. CJ2 Pilot, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XB589 Moon Badge. I really appreciate that. Nick Morales, who's Furby Trades in here, thanks for being in Tom's Army for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. Yes, silver finally pulled back 77 was the price I really wanted to see, but yes, there are lower levels. 71.27 would be a very nice pullback amount. I was so hoping you would be in here, Nick. I was so hoping you'd be in here. Thank you so much. Mrs. Stott 75 on the TV. Yep, it bounced down to 75, came back up for what I like to call the little J hook, when it's not going to hold if it falls back down. But we could get a 50 to 75% retracement, maybe back to 78 or 79 if it wanted to pull back up real quick. But I suspect, well, we'll see. We'll see if this is just a fake out to the bottom side too. But we're going to learn a lot here. We're going to learn a lot. I'm telling you right now, we want crypto to run now. We want it to run now. And I think everybody can understand why I'm saying that. You got to take advantage of these moments of liquidity here, and if we don't, we could have a problem. If this just rallies unabated, we could have a problem. If silver all of a sudden pulls back to $90 today, we have a problem. But if silver goes down to 72 for what I think was a gap hit in the weekly, somewhere around 71, 72. We'll see though, man. This is like a crazy son of a bitch. This crazy, crazy times we're dealing with here, I must say. EOK, welcome in. What's up, my brother? Gray Paul, good evening. Zizar, welcome. Hello there, fellow pilgrims, indeed. We're just sizing up the event. DJRC, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad badge bash. Elmer J. Fudd. Is it crypto season or silver season? It's crypto season. Silver season. I like to go with the unwanted. So what does everybody want now? Hey, Tom, I'm not buying silver at 17, 18, 25, 37, 52, 69, but I'll buy it at $83. Hey, Tom, I'll buy crypto at 126, 110, 95. Or I'll buy XRP at I won't buy XRP at 30 or 60 or 90 or $1.50 or $2.17, but I'll buy it at $3.50, $3.75, $3, $2.75. That I like when stuff happens like this. We're kind of getting to a convergence where we need some top end pressure out of crypto. We got to take some liquidity so we can drive it down. We're stalling every time we try to drive it down. I would say gold and silver's having a problem every time it tries to drive it up, but it is not. But right now is exactly what we were planning for. If you've been watching for the last couple of weeks, we've been preparing, especially this last week. However, in preparation, you have to know your bailout plan. So if for some reason silver bounces all the way back up to 85 or 90, or the gold and crypto like Bitcoin just all of a sudden falls out, and nobody says this is going to be a surefire thing, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing I'm happy about is when we talked about this, XRP was at $1.80, $1.79, $1.81, so it's at least up a little bit. Bitcoin's up a few thousand. Everything's up about 8 to 10%. Well, not much. Not that much. Some are only up 4%. XDC's bounced up a lot more. Epic's up way more. But I got to quit babbling. I got to get through this. Let's see. Rob Clement, welcome in. Just send it. Thanks for being in town for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. It's all in the losing. Thanks for being in town for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. Maple Man. Mr. Stott, thanks for being in town for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. D-Billy, thanks for being in Tom's Army, or for being a very loyal member of the audience, I should say. What's one of the biggest gaslight I always get? People always gaslight me in the comments. And they always say that I only talk to the members of Tom's Army. I find that a very big, steep kick in the old grotesques, if I must say. Because I truly do try to say hi to everybody. Totally awesome. Good evening. I also harder than you. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in. Says you were killing it, brother. Great content. I truly appreciate that. Jordan Junkie says yes, you should keep collaborating the pages. Ben B, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. Jordan Junkie says, but always post with new and collab with old. Yes, I agree with that. I remember you were talking about that, so I'm going to keep doing that. So just so that it keeps showing up on the old page, too. Good advice. What is your silver channel called? Used to watch you talk metals. That's why I'm a millionaire and own a mansion and a yacht now. I like that, Elmer. I was talking about it on this station. I started a segment, and I did a lot of episodes actually back in the day when silver and gold was actually cheap, or much cheaper. But I did a silver stacking. I did midday market reports. I did 54 episodes, and then I also did 12 episodes of silver stacking. So 54 different episodes of the midday market report, and that was covering gold, silver, and mining stocks. And that, the monetary side. And then I did 12 episodes of silver stacking as well. So there was about 64 pieces of content dedicated, over a time period. I was doing it a couple times a week on the midday market report. There was also an overnight radio show that I don't know what happened to those episodes. I just never put them into order. There's more midday market reports, but there was an overnight radio show, I called it. I'd come on at like 2 a.m. I would literally talk for an hour, hour and a half. Wasn't live. But I would just record it. I would do it outside when everybody was sleeping. I'd do it for like an hour and a half, and I'd do it in like a radio style show. Even though nobody was talking to me, I would just act like I was listening to people. And that did okay. But I only had like 6,000 or 7,000 subscribers. See, I had a lot of ideas in the beginning that I thought were cool. Anyhow. But they're all proportionate though. See, here's the thing. I need everybody to realize this. When I was doing the silver and gold and commodity videos in the mining stocks, there was a reason I was separating them. And there was a reason why there was so much emphasis. Then the gold silver ratio was so high. Silver was anywhere between 26 and all the way down to 17 when I was doing that silver stacking series. Gold was anywhere between 1970 something and all the way down to like 1700 it got to. I don't know if it was during the silver stacking series. It might have been at 18 something. Might have been lower than that though by the end actually. But there was a reason. In the mining stocks, I talked about it. If you go back and watch those, you're gonna see a few of them and you're gonna say, "Oh my God!" Like what? Because I put predictions out from the miners back in those videos where you should buy, and I actually said for B2 Gold you should buy it at $2.21 or $2.22. The low it got to was $2.20. I talked about Fortuna Silver Mines under $2, which it got to. I talked about a lot of them like Ken Ross, which I can't believe I don't own, but I showed where to buy it under $3, and now it's over. You guys know, almost to 30. But we talked about a lot of these so long ago. It's insane. If you go back and watch, you will have a lot more respect for what I do. I promise you. You know, I was preaching to nobody. Like I was literally on an island because everybody's like, talk about crypto, you dumb son of a. And it's like, listen, crypto and gold and silver and that kind of stuff are their own entity for a reason. If you can, okay, so you have 4 key fundamental ways that you need to approach the market. Okay, so you need risk. Everybody needs a little risk in their life, so you go to crypto. Okay, so there's your risk asset. Well, now if you have a risk asset, everybody needs a safe value, store of value. Well, you can't go to crypto. Bitcoin's not a store of value. No other crypto is. So you go to gold, silver for the store of value, and then you want to do we're doing a very volatile move in crypto, so you want to go try to find the things that pull out of the ground. So I always categorize gold and silver as their own category, the precious metal. Then you want to take on a little more risk. I would argue you could go into mining stocks instead of crypto if you understand like the movement. If you only want to do one of it. But anyhow, so you have crypto, you have risk on, you have gold and silver, which is risk off. You have emerging markets, especially if you're betting against the US dollar, but that has to be in a style where you're doing it year over year over year. So I like to put it in mutual funds, but the problem is when we go into biometrics, if all this goes that way I think it is, it's not going to matter anyhow. All of our planning is not going to matter. The only thing's going to matter is how much gold and silver you have. So all the rest is basically pointless anyhow. That's why over the years I'll be getting out of crypto, but I need to make this bank when it's here. You know, we've made a lot of money that has allowed us to move our monetary situation. So anyhow, before I talk everybody in the audience out, these are my favorite things to talk about, but the audience, 35% will leave if I don't go back to crypto in about the next 7 minutes. Silver, though, had an unbelievable push up to 83.90. It's significantly oversold, but you know, when there's significant demand, that doesn't even matter. Everybody's going to find out that really doesn't matter if there's a squeeze. We came all the way down to 75.07, and the crazy part is, I mean, it only came down and back tested the small 20-day. I mean, it hasn't done any. It came down to the 2 hour as well. I mean, that's a significant back test so quickly. Man, oh man. If we end up getting more pressure up, this is going to be wild come tomorrow. So, okay, let's get into XRP. $1.86.9, and I thank everybody. Thank you for letting me talk. I really appreciate it. $1.86.9, up 1/4 of 1%. I think everything looks ready to. I, I can only wear the hat so many days in a row, and like I said, don't put the correlation, because I don't know if this is going to go up at all. Like, this is one of those. I feel like it's going to. I think everything's pointing in the direction that we're going to all of a sudden get a volatile move up, and before we know it, we're going to be up retesting $3 or $2. I feel like that's coming, regardless of if we're bullish or bearish. I think we're coming up here to retest the drop point. That's just my own personal feeling. And I feel like it's either not. I feel like it's got to go. I feel like it's got to go. Yeah, I bought silver. I didn't buy anything over $28. And I started buying it around 11 and 12. Well, I think 12 something was my cheapest. However, it wasn't really $12 because you're paying over it. So like 15, 16 maybe. But the actual spot price was under 13. And for gold, I never bought anything at 2,000 or higher. I bought everything under and all the way down to about 1,400. And then Julie bought her purchase after, we paid off our house and stuff. Everybody was telling her where to put her, because she got hurt, so she had a little bit of money that was saved up from when she was working and stuff. And everybody was telling her to do something different. And I just said, Julie, I'm going to let you make your own decision, but my personal opinion, and she wanted to, silver was one thing, but she wanted to store her value. So I said, Julie, gold, just drop down to 1,900. You have no reason to listen to me except the fact that you've been with me and you see what I've done with our finances. This is what I would do, but I'm not going to tell you what to do, and I'll respect whatever you do. And I was very honest, and I said, you can do whatever you want. And she had, and then I told her gold and silver, but I explained how I would do it. And she took her, smartest thing she ever did. She took her, so anyhow, what she ended up doing with this money was she bought a 10-ounce thing. She bought 10 ounces in gold when it was at 1,917. You can talk about the spot edition, but that was the spot price. And then she bought a 100-ounce bar of silver, a kilo, when it was at $19 and something cents. So she bought that last pullback right before everything started breaking out, and she crushed it. Hold on, my dad's calling. Hold on one sec. Hey, Dad. How you doing? Good. We have them for this week. Yeah, I believe so. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep, that sounds good. I was just in the middle of my live. I'm just doing my live. You're fine. No, you're fine. Keep talking. Yeah, that's fine. That'd be nice. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll give you a call tomorrow. All right, Dad. Love you. All right. Bye. Okay, so anyhow, but yeah, she crushed it. And I tell her every single day that one single decision, unbelievable decision. Because now it was just an unbelievable decision. Let's see. Mr. Tom, what would happen with the crypto market if silver hit 96.66 in a week due to Chinese government breaking contracts with the Western suppliers? That is an excellent question. It's an excellent question. I mean, there's two ways you can look at that. One, you're starting to play out that way. If this doesn't play out in the bullish direction, you might find out that firsthand. Remember the scenario I've talked about with XRP, if this doesn't break out into expansion. I'm just being honest with everybody. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. If this doesn't break out into a fourth wave expansion, that means we continue and theoretically a micro third wave down and still contraction. And the lower we break this, I don't know the exact rule with the wick off rate or with the Elliott wave theory. I know the rules, but I don't know exactly the extension down. I'm sure Nick or MQ, which is Scotty Trades in here, and Furby Trades is actually Nick Moreno. But I'm sure they could tell us the exact number down to where we don't break the Elliott wave rule of the movement between the first wave and the third wave to keep it within the framework. But if it comes down, and let's just say we come to $1.57 for some reason, and then we try to work our way up, it's gonna be a big problem because then we could in theory find ourselves under the fifth wave, down below $1, and then start a bullish 5 waves up. But what if it doesn't get us even back to no? What if it keeps us in no man's land, or maybe it's an ABC correction, and then you continue? You don't want to go into this stuff. Hell, if you want to call it XYZ, I don't care what you call it. XYZ 1, 2, 3, 9, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5. I don't care. Just a 3 wave and. No, Nick, I should have known that's what you were talking about. I should have known because the way you were talking, I should have known you were talking about platinum because you talked about it hitting a new all-time high. And we're still kind of waiting on palladium, so I should have known that you just had mistyped there. I do it all the time, and I need people in my audience to correct me because we have so much information in our heads, Nick, that we have no choice. We have so much stuff that gets merged together sometimes. I remember I told people about silver at $24, and I said buy now if you can. They laughed, and now ask me when to buy. Nick, it's the same story with me. My Dad, if you're watching, since you just called me, God bless you if you are. I told my dad over and over and over at 18, 20, 25 to buy. He tells my brother, old Vincenzo, 2 days ago, because we were talking on the phone, that he was going to buy it at 70. My brother nearly jumped through the phone, and that's what everybody does. I told you, it doesn't matter if you're in my family or not. Nobody listens. There was a point when I was making like a tenth, like probably 3% of what my dad was making when I first started doing this. When I was off in a very bad way, and I was buying more silver and gold than he was, taking, a fraction of my $500 or $600 I might have had that week out of a paycheck, and I'm taking religiously $50 to $100 a week and making $400 a month in silver purchases, and I'm all happy because I'm able to do $5,000 a year, and people laughed at me and oh, you got a whole $5,000. Yeah, you know what? I might not have been able to get a lot comparison to most, but in that year of 2018 and 19, when I was able to get about $5,000 in silver and gold, look what that did for me now. Those, and it was just that mentality. So the more I started earning, I kept doing the same dispersion. Hey, if I could take 20% out when I was making dick, I can make 20% out of when I'm making more. And I did that on this show in the entire year of 2022 and most of the year in 2023. Every single month I bought silver. Every single month on routine. And I would let the audience know about it. I wish I would have had this mindset when I was 23, 20. But see, this is what other people don't realize. See, we're older now. When we were younger, we didn't have the ability to do all this trading so easily online. Like a lot of the bullion buys, you couldn't just go on a bunch of different websites right there and be like, I want to buy silver. You had to go find it. I found an independent dealer later in life, that lived actually not too far from me over in Macomb County. But it wasn't just like trading, stock market. It wasn't this easy. I remember when they came out with Scott Trade. Does anybody remember that? I think it was Scott Trade. And it was for idiots like us so that we could trade, the stock market without having to go to a broker. And we could actually, we had still a broker, but you were like your own self-broker. So roughly, which I don't see a holding as of now. There is. We do need to sweep $3 at some point. I mean, I swear I feel like we're sitting ready for a little bit of a liftoff. Just in the short term, like I'm not talking about anything crazy, guys. I'm literally talking about that first move to $2. Like I don't see why that gets so much hate when I talk about it. Doesn't everybody hate me when I talk bearish? Literally the last 4 days or 5 days, I've been like, listen, ever since we made this bottom here, I've been very comfortable thinking that this is going to be start of a 4. I really do, because couldn't you say A, B, well, let's see. One, two. I don't know if you could just do a small. My brain's working, but it's not sure what it's working on here. I'm seeing like a pattern within a pattern that actually is a really good thing. Oh, this just would further what we're saying. Holy shit. That's good. Good, good, good. I think we're okay right now. Unless it gets invalidated, I think we're okay. Boom, boom, boom. Short-term inverse. That's kind of validation if it can hold. You got this hook. Boop. That would be your inverse pattern. Swinging it up to the, let's just say the neck of the breakdown. And I only say that because you start up here. You come down almost to like the neck push. Still could get rejected like that. Form a perfect hook up. Still maintaining that resistance down and getting another tap that could keep us stuck. I think it all makes sense to come up there and retest our situation. I think it makes perfect sense. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, nor would I tell you what to do, but, you know, I would heavily consider that this possibility can play out, as we've been talking about. And there's nothing that tells us right now that it's not going to. Because when you take the short-term chart here, you can't even hate this. It back-tested these, well, not that one. But it back-tested this perfectly, and it never gave it away, ever. And now it seemingly is rising back up. I mean, everything about this is telling us, like, if you don't break down here. And the reason I say we got to do it now, if we're going to do it, is, I mean, one, we got the escrow dump in 4 days. Let's call it for what it is. Not the 29th on Monday. Not the 30th on Tuesday. Not the 31st on Wednesday. Oh, but the end of the week on Thursday. The 1st. But it's also the new year. So does that circumvent what's going to happen in the market? Because the futures would be technically the kibosh. So how would that work? You know, we got a lot to talk about here. A lot to talk about. Let's see. Bearded Viking, I appreciate that. She did crush it. She did. Collectible. Let's see. Silver gold. Missed already into that. I can see, I would definitely agree that XRP's gonna have to sweep that $3 level at some point. There's zero question in my mind either. Zero question. Bearded Viking said my brother said he was saw him the other day. We was talking about him, so I should have held on and kept stacking. Yes, you should. Absolutely. This is like the biggest wealth transfer in our lifetime that doesn't get talked about. Everybody talks about the digital transfer, and it very well might come for us though, but wouldn't you guys agree with crypto? Most of that transfer's probably happened already. And I only say that because, think about it, you buy XRP at 30 cents, and it moves up from $1.87 up to $4, and you're like, holy fuck, my 3,000 is fucking 40 grand. If you buy it at 18,700 for those same amount of tokens, and you go up, you're like, oh my god, I made X amount of dollars. But it doesn't it compounds, but not as quickly, and you had to drop a lot more in the front, which means retail doesn't have that much money. So now what ends up happening is I have $1,800 because now I have 1,000 tokens, right? Because you can't afford 18,000 worth. That's just the reality here. This is how you phase out retail without acting like you're phasing out retail. Like, hey, retail, go buy 0.00001 of a Bitcoin to feel important. You're not going to make dick, okay? Anything you can make your money back. Go buy something that has the potential to outweigh itself. Don't buy something that's capped. You go buy Bitcoin, now you got to go to fucking almost 200,000 to 1x it. Don't do that. You got to find things that are dirt cheap. You know who I think is going to be a ringer? You know who's a ringer? Algo. Algo's a freaking ringer right now. It's a ringer. There's so much stuff that's coming out about it in a good way that I think it's going to be a sleeping dark horse, like I've been saying a lot. Yes, Nick. See, Nick knows what I'm talking about. You had to find pawn shops. Pawn shops. For brokers, or, you know, unless you found some kind of broker in your area. But mainly pawn shops, and guess what? You know, it's a lot easier to test for things today, let's just say, than it was in yesteryear. So there's a lot of risk. But you know what I always tell everybody, Nick? Like I had this conversation with Julie yesterday. It's pretty insane that about age. And I said, Julie, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back because even if you went back with all the knowledge you have today, all of the knowledge, I can almost guarantee we'd go back too big headed and think we couldn't screw it up. And we would screw it all up, probably, most of us. So I would rather continue to age, feel blessed that I'm making it to an area that a lot of people never made it to at my age. I lost a lot of friends early, a lot of classmates, we grew up in the drug epidemic with not like the old day, but the new day when they were starting to, well, I don't want to get into it, but, so I would rather keep going forward than going backwards, so I never regret getting older. Yes, we can have a little bit of nostalgia going backwards, but I honestly realize, like, you have to have the perfect storm to get to where you're at in your life. So for those exact scenarios to play out again, like for me to be doing this and have the audience, the perfect scenario had to play out. Like we had to hit the perfect time. Everything had to play out perfectly for this community to be the way it is. Like for me to be, just with everything, it has to be the perfect, everything just has to, you have to have the experience, And then you have to make a decision in the heat of the moment, and sometimes it's the right decision, sometimes it's the wrong decision, and sometimes when it's the right decision, it's actually the wrong decision, and sometimes it's the wrong decision, but it ends up being the right decision for a future endeavor. Trust me, I know a thing or two about that, trying a bunch of different things, and, because I'm a perfectionist, it has to be, it's all or nothing. I can't just do something and not be good at it. I don't start out good at it, but I can't not. I can't do it. So I have to learn from the ground up. And now we're doing it again. We're just doing it again. And this is a difficult one. This is probably my favorite with crypto because it's so volatile. There's so much back and forth. And I love it. There's so much what people perceive as manipulation. Now, here's one thing that I will tell you. We talked this earlier. And we said, even if we're bearish, we should come up here and retap this 88,464. But we talked about a little bit higher because the 4 hour is going to run up above in the 200 day. But we've talked about the fact that we could get a short rejection right up here. Now, we didn't quite come all the way. So it's starting to it's trending in the right area. This is all trending in the right way. Now, we haven't got any volume, so that always makes me a little nervous. But we really should tap that liquidity zone between 90 and 92K. I firmly believe that that's what we're probably trying to build here. But, it could fall apart. Let's go. The spring is just loaded up, tying up demand outside. Now that's all day, Jolson. Even conservative XP bulls are saying 3 to 8, and maybe $4 is likely out. Last push before another winner. I've always liked the idea of either 549 to 638. Personally, if we were going to go all the way up that high, I never prescribe by the $10 or plus in the beginning. But I also understand if this corrects properly, it could, just from the Elliott wave standpoint, if we actually went through a wick-off accumulation with the dispersion and then the redemand, and then if it ended up doing that perfectly, I could see a scenario where it could hit that $10 mark out of an extension out. But, let's see. Turn down the heat, fellas, and let's pay attention, class and such. As you noticed, I can see there's rude comments being slurred probably my way, but this is part of my growth. I'm not going to acknowledge as if it's even happened. I'm just going to continue the conversation, but I can tell you it's hurting the viewership. I've noticed ever since this conversation started going on that a lot of people are leaving now. But I don't think Lonzo's been in here for a very long time. So I don't know. I'm not saying nothing bad to Lonzo because he's been a very big advocate. And he's actually been trying to steer people in the right direction for years in here. So there's got to be more than what I'm reading here. Can never take anything just at face. I'm just saying. So anyhow, I'm gonna continue. Good evening, Lonzo. By the way, good to see you in here. XLM is something I really wanted to touch on today as well, because if we do have this inverse pattern setting up, it's a back test right now perfectly in the 4 hour, and this really should send us up to 23.3. We really should. No, he wasn't talking to you, Nick. I didn't notice it wasn't, but anyhow. No, I didn't want anybody for some reason to like ban Lonzo or something, because that can't happen. You know, he's actually a good person in here. But we all, you know, it's an emotional space, and Maritime's been in here too, so we just gotta, cooler heads will prevail. So, you know, just remember, at the end of the day, have compassion for each other, and that'll shine us through. But with XLM, I went back to my roots, as you guys know. So XLM, with all of this consolidation, I found myself looking at XLM and H bar and, you know, algo, band. You guys know the story, but as far as it goes with XRP, XLM, XDC, I've recommitted to that part of the foundation to the point now I think XLM, it's 40,000 tokens. Same thing with H bar, but it's been a confined effort. And the only reason it's not more is because I decided not to have 50,000 of XLM and H bar, so that I could have 10,000 ADA. So instead I have 40,000 H bar, 40,000 XLM, and I'd rather just have the 10,000 ADA. It was a little cheaper than where I bought XRP, so I just figured, fuck it. I don't want to regret it in the future, because it's got the same kind of, you know, basically the same case as XRP minus the litigation and stuff. So, and I'm not letting my personal bias get in the way of it. With Charles Hawkinson, you know, I think he's kind of a dick, but you know, we are who we are. See? Beautiful. Sharon, welcome in. New to my channel. Thank you so much, love. Says, I'm new to your channel. I appreciate your content. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. I love it. Thank you so much. See, look at that. Look at the comments now. Maritime and Lonzo being that. See that? Define, if there's one thing that I can say I appreciate this year, it's that I had the self-reflection to where I had to grow up a little bit even. So that with XLM, I think, especially where XLM's at versus XRP, in comparison to XDC, I think we really need to pay attention to XLM right now. XDC versus XRP is beautiful in the 4 hour. Like, it's dumped out again. But it's when we get into the weekly time frame, you got to pay a little bit of attention to this, because it's kind of, it didn't jump the shark because it's going to keep moving up over time because it's way undervalued. But when it comes to how fast it's going to move compared to XRP, you can talk about maybe we should take a look at XLM now, because in the weekly, it's actually where XDC was at prior to this move up. So if we can get a much quicker expansion out of XLM here, let's not forget about this, guys. I almost did. I almost forgot to go deeper into XLM, but I'm not anymore. So if this plays out, we could very much appreciate and come with. If it comes up here, that means XLM's price is, it has to have gone up in a significant way. Usually the XLM XRP pairing, it's doing something pretty interesting here. What the hell is that? A gem? What is that? Huh. Guys, if you look at my thing, they added stuff now finally. They told me that my community now could share a whole bunch of stuff. Go into, not saying that you're going to gift anything. I didn't know it was on there, but go into the real, here, I'll do it myself. Why the hell would I tell you to do it? How stupid. But look what they did. They're trying to compete with Twitter, or with TikTok. Told you they're trying to compete with TikTok. Look at this. See, this is why we need to talk, Lonzo. I told you it has to be something was going on. It's just you can't take everything. Sometimes you got to think deeper. And since we know it, since I know. But anyhow, look at this. Not membership gifting. Super stickers. Look how many there are now. If look at all these. It accepted our that they're trying to compete, so now you can send all of this. Yeah, think about that. You guys can send me a whole bunch of stuff now instead of just sending a super chat if you want to send something. They're trying to make it better. They added a whole bunch of stuff, which I think is kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to do something real quick and it'll become obvious in a second. I don't know. So, nope, I don't know. I gotta do it on my phone. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Let me get this off the page. Nobody wants to see that crap. Forgot that was on there. Here's your sign, buddy. As we're trying to watch. Hey, now we're talking a little bit. Look at this. Getting a little bit of an upward. Finally. Hey, guys. I know we've been talking for a long time about this, but... You know, you never know when it's... I have to do something real quick. But it's going to benefit somebody. I promise. However, I got to go to a different account because they won't let me do what I want to do. I like the way everybody handled themselves just now. I like the way everybody handled themselves, so there's got to be some kind of good reward. I like the way everybody... Whoops. Because those are slippery slopes. But cooler heads prevail, and I love it. So, I'm going to do... Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I can feel it today. Okay, so thank you everybody for paying attention and listening to me. And I just wanted to do this because I appreciate my audience. And I have no idea if that is going to let me come back or not. I'm going to get 5 subs for my audience. Will this let me back? I don't know. That would be a miracle. Oh my God, it actually worked. So there was it said on my end, after I gifted those subs nonetheless, that there was an unexpected error on YouTube and it had to close me out. Guess we were getting too close to the truth, huh? So, but it definitely cost us viewers. We had, over 100 people were watching when that happened, to be honest. Now there's like 50. But no, I didn't leave. It cut me off. I never wanted to leave it. It cut me out, unfortunately. I was trying to think the ones who got the gifted subs. Real quick, if you're still here, I just wanted to thank the audience. I gifted 5 subs and Stephen G, congratulations on getting your 6 months now back in Tom's Army with the gifted sub. Joe Wolf, C.B. Brown. Hey, C. Brown, that's a good one to get to. Maurice, another great one. Who's here a lot. Joel Wolf and Q2X, congratulations on getting your gifted subs and being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Yes, I never wanted to leave, guys. I'm just very kind of disappointing that it did that because we were cooking with viewers. But now no one's gonna even know we're here, so that's okay. That's okay. Things happen, right? Things happen. But yeah, I wasn't exactly done yet. I know we were on for like an hour, but I wanted to finish with something. I was trying to get to my point with XLM and everything. I apologize that YouTube found the need to cut me off. but I'll do my best to try to get this out now. I'm not sure how I could even reach everybody else that ended up leaving. It's probably impossible. So I guess we'll just make the most with it. At least there's 66 of us that are back together. I'm just happy. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. It just gave me an unexpected thing. It said there was an unexpected error, which is weird because it literally happened right after I gifted that sub, which is even weirder. Maybe they didn't want people to know I was gifting. I don't know. Let me get back into my normal account just so I can share this and just say, hey, stream went back on after unexpected error on YouTube. There, and I'm just going to do it to all channel members. And they see it, they see it. If not, we'll just continue. So thank you, everybody who stayed in here. BDIC, welcome in, friend. Thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I love seeing that. Love seeing the new members. Let's see. Define Tom, I tried sending a new sticker, but I forgot my password for purchasing stuff. Now I have bigger problems. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Excellent. Maybe that's what happened. I was showing that stuff, and then they're like, nah, you can't show that. Miss Jan, welcome in, Jan. Jan's been here since essentially the beginning. Like the beginning. You're not going to find many members that have been here this long. Period. One of the first members ever to join Tom's Army, so literally here from the beginning. Thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix band, and good evening to you. Is it lagging? I don't know. Let me listen to my tablet. Hold on. Let me listen to my tablet. I don't know if it's lagging or not. It kind of sounds okay. Yep. It came back on. I had to go back as if I was going to start another live. And then it asked me if I wanted to continue from where it was at. And I'm like, of course I do. I don't want to have to start a new one. Because then it's going to kind of chop it up. Yeah, that was me wiping the screen. Sorry about that. But yeah, XLM, if we do get this push up, it should first area, I would think. If we do end up pushing back up, we need to test this breakdown uptrend of the uptrend. So I would think coming up to 25.6 would be a reasonable expectation. However, we're going to have to get past the 200-day first. So we're going to have a meeting at around 23.3 cents. Why is crypto pumping? My theory is that we need to go into a wave 4 expansion. And with what silver's done, we're trying to correlate it that silver, when it's not that it peaked out, but there's a gap in the weekly somewhere around $71 to $72 an ounce. So the theory is it goes back down there and people flip out of risk off in the gold and silver for a minute. They put it into risk on, and it allows us to get that catalyst pushing forward. But real quick, and then I'll leave so I can finish with this point. XLM right now, I believe, is a much better deal versus XRP than XDC at this very moment. Not for 100% of time, but where it's at right now, it's significantly oversold in the weekly versus XRP, as to where XDC is over bought versus XRP. So it looks like you're going to get a little bit more appreciation out of XLM. And it looks like XRP's price should be appreciating. So what does that mean for XLM? It could be moving a lot quicker than XRP here soon. At least for a small burst. So the other thing it could mean is that when things crash, maybe XRP falls faster. But I don't think that's what we're doing yet. I think it's more of the up direction, for this. We need expansion. We need expansion. I wanted to thank whoever sent the super chats too, because now you can send different things, like you can send different cool items, which I think is really cool. It make it more intriguing. D Billy, thanks for the 99-cent super chat. The gem, a gem. Look at that, beautiful. I hustle harder than you. Thanks for the 99-cent super chat. I greatly, greatly appreciate that as well. Yeah, it actually worked too. I can't believe it. And he put 100 on there. The little saying. I love it. And it actually like glows and stuff. That's pretty cool. I wish that they did it like on TikTok. I know if I go vertical, it probably does, where it would come on through the horizontal and it would show it on the screen. Like that's the one thing about horizontal. It doesn't let you do anything. I don't know why. But if I was vertical, it would. And thank you. That's your 5th super chat on live stream. That is incredibly generous. Thank you so much for that. And then I seen another one. Joseph Euler, thanks for the $1.99 super chat with the finger up. I love it. Doesn't even tell me what it's called. At least on TikTok, it tells me. BDIC says, Uncle T, been a follower of you since the days you walked the streets. Just changed my name. You proved yourself to me. You're the real deal. Oh, thank you, BD. I appreciate that, my friend. Really appreciate that. Tom, do you believe there is any validity to the rumors that Ripple might go public in 26? What would that do for XRP? That's a dangerous question. If Ripple were to go public, let me just ask all of you. How many of you would sell out some of your crypto to buy Ripple if it went public in the stock market? That really should, that'll answer a lot of questions, my friends. Oh yeah, Shiba as well. Shiba I have. I also have Shiba. I always forget, but it's on my other page for a reason. I'm going to go to that real quick. H-bar. Another one that's significantly oversold. And if we have a move, I still think 12.9 cents is where it's trying to target. Nice inverse head and shoulders breaking out as we speak. Trying to in the micro. I mean, everything is almost exactly where I would have wanted to play it. Because you got to buy support, sell resistance. So we'll deal with it at 13 cents and see what's going to happen roughly. If this does exactly what it needs to do. So I think very nice positioning right now for H-bar with how it's starting to consolidate and move out here on this inverse pattern. Shiba right now, 747. Another one that looks like it's imminently about to push up. And you can get, we misspoke. It was so cheap. I was like, oh, you can buy this much and you get $1 million. But no. It was actually 10 times what I was saying. The value of it, what you were able to purchase compared to in the past. So with that being said, what do I have? Where the hell's Shiba? Yeah, like it's not 53 million that you could buy for, 3,500 at the time. It was actually 500 million plus that you could buy of Shiba. So that's how cheap it was. Dirt cheap. I like dirt cheap. Really like dirt cheap. But as it is, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, as much as I only want to have a couple different things, at this point in time, that's not the way it is. I'm trying to hit every single little corridor, and it's a little difficult and tricky. And then in conclusion, I talk about ADA. I talk about the falling wedge that it was in, why I decided to flip out of Axelar, and the majority, I kept 10,000 tokens just in case it does go bonkers one day. But with all the stuff they did, I decided to respread a little bit of wealth. And this was a big one for me at 34.7-ish. And now watching this, it's in a falling wedge. If you can get past 38.3, it should work its way back to 47 cents. But if you missed XRP, this is definitely one you got to watch at these levels, because this is probably one that's going to emulate that movement at some point. Whether you like Charles Hawkinson or not, sometimes you got to bite the bullet and look at the weekly. The weekly's begging for a retest of the death cross at 55 cents. Like, that is begging to come up there for that liquidity at some point. Like, it's begging us. The market is begging us to pay attention. While everybody's fascinated with silver, now crypto's begging us to pay attention for this micro movement. It's begging us. Yeah, in the 15-minute candle, there was certainly a little bit of volume. I'm glad that you've seen that. Still like band. I still think it's worth the 10,000 tokens, buying it in the right zones. We talked about the head and this little shoulder that could be forming, and makes it a warranted move, and try to ride it up to 36 and see what happens. We filled out the wick exhaustion. So who knows if we would actually come down there, if we actually can fill this out from a grander way. Time will tell. This is SHX is another one when it finally starts to move. This thing moves miles. Like I'm not trying to buy things that are the standard core. I'm trying to buy things that can move miles, quickly. Because I know at some point we're about to, I don't even want to talk about it, but massively oversold in the smaller time frames. Looks like it's setting up for another reversal, but oh, Linnea. No, I gotta go though. I'm over talking. I told Julie I'd walk back in there because T fell asleep. Linnea looks great. Inverse pattern, love it. I love it. This is one that I'm going to continue to follow and continue to hold with. And if I got to sell out, I would always have the same funds. I always keep the same funds for the same tokens in the same spot. And that's my allotment on each of the tokens. And because of what happened with IOTA not having it on Kraken and being able to get it right now, I decided to put that allotment, instead of having the 100,000 into that, I started building algo on the buy and sell. And now that's my 100,000 token one as well. I think that's very undervalued algo. Good evening. Can you please look at H-bar? Yes, I can. I looked at it once, but I'll look at it on the way out here. H-bar up 1.04%. It's got a nice inverse pattern. It bounced perfectly off this channel. Had a nice tap. Inverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder breakout, back test. Held clean. Earlier it held clean. Now a breakout should push us up in the 4-hourly up north at 12.5 to 13 cent range. And we're going to have a destination meeting right there and see what happens. So, thank you all, everybody. I really appreciate all of you. With this next wave up, though, if we get this movement, remember, you got to think about profit. I'm just being real. This is a micro 5-wave Elliott wave right now. And I know it's only a theory. But if we have 5 waves down, this would be 4th wave expansion, which means 5th wave contraction would go farther down than we were in 3. We're going to have, unless it gets invalidated. So we'll talk about that as it goes if this continues to rally. But so far, so good. It's done what we've been thinking. So we'll see how it plays out. Thank you all so much for your support. I really, really genuinely appreciate it. Like, can we get one more like before I leave? Thank you. We just got it. Appreciate it. Shows 100 on mine now. It's all that matters. Mine says 100. I know it's not showing it on there, but it actually shows 100 on mine. There it is. So appreciate that. How everybody came back for the majority. After it cut me off, and we were able to at least finish this the right way.